Have you ever opened your eyes in the morning and felt as though you hadn't truly rested? You retired for the night timely, remained in bed for 8 hours, and yet you still feel utterly depleted, as if your physique is heavy and your intellect is already weary before the day even commences. If this resonates with you, rest assured, you are not by yourself. Truly, I hear this from countless women, particularly those in their 60s, 70s, and older, who express the identical sentiment. I feel fatigued constantly, but I'm unsure why. And perhaps you've been informed it's merely a component of aging, that this is how growing older manifests. However, allow me to share something crucial. Experiencing constant fatigue isn't solely about advancing in age. There exist genuine, correctable causes for why your vitality has diminished. And once you grasp what they entail, you can begin regaining command, one measure at a time. So today, we will converse honestly and openly regarding the concealed origins of weariness in mature women. My purpose isn't to inundate you. I am here to journey beside you, akin to a reliable companion, and assist you in connecting the pieces, enabling you to feel more alert, more vibrant, and more like your true self once more. And please remain with me until the conclusion, as some discoveries we make might astonish you. They could potentially alter how you feel each and every day ahead. Now, inhale deeply. This moment belongs to you. Let us start. 1. The unspoken hormone reduction no one prepares you for. Let's commence with an issue that nearly every senior woman encounters, yet scarcely anyone discusses: hormone level reduction following menopause. Now, I'm not solely referring to menopause itself. The majority of us are briefed on the hot flashes, the emotional fluctuations, and the nocturnal perspiration accompanying that shift. But what isn't widely disclosed is the aftermath. Years post-menopause, our estrogen and progesterone concentrations don't simply remain diminished. They frequently plummet to nearly negligible levels. And this exerts a far greater influence on our energy than most comprehend. You understand, during our younger years, those hormones weren't solely related to menstruation or childbearing. Estrogen and progesterone acted as the clandestine power source behind numerous aspects of our existence. Estrogen aided in maintaining mental acuity, bolstered memory, and even contributed to regulating how our system utilized glucose for vitality. Progesterone assisted in soothing the nervous system. It facilitated easier sleep onset and prolonged sleep duration. But currently, with those hormone levels at rock bottom, circumstances begin to feel altered. Elementary activities, such as carrying groceries, ascending stairs, or even perusing a book, start feeling more arduous. You might perceive yourself as heavier, more sluggish, or mentally hazier. And here lies the reality. That isn't a figment of your imagination. You aren't indolent, nor are you damaged. Your body is merely attempting to operate with diminished amounts of the fuel it once possessed. What intensifies this frustration is that most physicians never address it. They frequently state, well, that's just a part of growing older. Yet they never pause to inquire, what if there's more to it than just that? Certain women could find advantage in what's known as bioidentical hormone therapy. Others might require assistance for their adrenal glands or supplements designed to help stabilize the body post-menopause. But the possibilities remain unknown until you inquire. Therefore, if you experience constant exhaustion, if your energy levels have dramatically shifted over recent years, don't dismiss it. Consult your physician. Ask about evaluating your hormone concentrations. Because comprehending your body represents the initial stride toward reclaiming your vitality. And at our stage of life, understanding genuinely equates to empowerment. 2. The nutrient shortfalls that silently sap your vigor. Here's an aspect most women are never informed about. You can maintain a healthy diet, consume your vitamins, and still feel perpetually weary. This occurs because, as we advance in age, our bodies fail to assimilate nutrients as effectively as before. You see, beyond age 60, the stomach generates less acid, and gastric acid is vital. It assists in breaking down food and absorbing nutrients. Consequently, even if your meals are abundant in fruits, vegetables, and protein, your system might not be extracting the necessary components. This explains why numerous older women experience nutrient deficiencies without awareness. And these silent deficits can leave you feeling feeble, mentally clouded, or utterly depleted. Let's discuss 4 prevalent ones that hold particular significance. The first is vitamin B12. This vitamin preserves cognitive sharpness and supports the nervous system. However, its absorption becomes more challenging with age, and many women over 60 exhibit low levels. When B12 is insufficient, you might feel disoriented, forgetful, or profoundly tired. Some women are even incorrectly diagnosed with memory impairments when the actual problem is this straightforward vitamin. Next is iron. Although monthly menstruation has ceased, your iron levels can still diminish. Over time, factors like ulcers, inflammation, or simply inadequate absorption can deplete it. Low iron can cause breathlessness, a rapid heartbeat, or the sensation that even minor activities are exhausting. Then there's vitamin D. You likely recognize its role in bone health, but it also influences mood and energy. Numerous older adults receive insufficient sunlight exposure, and even when we do, our skin's vitamin D production isn't as efficient as previously. Low vitamin D levels might result in feelings of fatigue, achiness, or even mild emotional lowness. Finally, let's address magnesium. This understated mineral aids muscles, nerves, sleep, and the stress response. Inadequate magnesium can lead to anxiety, heaviness, or the feeling of never fully resting. Stress depletes it even more rapidly. It's one element many women lack without realizing it. The exasperating aspect? Most physicians don't screen for all of these. They might check iron or vitamin D upon request, but B12 and magnesium are frequently disregarded unless explicitly mentioned. So here's your course of action. Firstly, specifically ask your doctor to evaluate your levels. Don't accept vague responses. You possess the right to understand the true state of your body. Secondly, contemplate targeted supplementation. A standard multivitamin might not suffice to correct a genuine deficiency. Sometimes your body requires greater support, and that's perfectly acceptable. Lastly, pay attention to your feelings. If you're tired daily, mentally foggy in the mornings, or simply not feeling like yourself, don't overlook it. Your body is communicating with you. Once I discovered my low levels of both B12 and magnesium, I began supplementing under my doctor's supervision. Within weeks, I felt mentally clearer, calmer, and more vigorous. It felt like regaining a small part of myself. You are deserving of that experience too, not eventually, now. 3. Subpar sleep quality, not just duration. Most of us were raised hearing the necessity of 8 hours of sleep nightly, so we strive to retire at a reasonable time. But what if I informed you that merely being in bed for 8 hours isn't adequate? Numerous older women tell me, I sleep through the night, yet I still awake and tired, and I fully comprehend this sentiment. I've experienced it firsthand. The reality is, as we age, it's not solely about the duration of sleep, it pertains to the quality of sleep. As we get older, our bodies produce less melatonin, the hormone facilitating sleep onset and maintenance. Furthermore, we spend diminished time in deep sleep, the nocturnal phase where the body undertakes healing and restoration. This implies that even if you lie in bed for 8 hours, you might only be achieving a few hours of genuine high-quality rest. Allow me to pose a question. Do you awaken in the night's midpoint around 2 or 3 a.m. and simply lie there gazing at the ceiling? Does your mind commence racing with anxieties concerning your health, family, or finances? And by the time dawn breaks, do you already feel as though the day has exacted a toll before it even started? That isn't merely insomnia. It's your body struggling to obtain the necessary repose. And here's another point to ponder. If you awaken feeling stiff, groggy, or as if your body never fully relaxed, it could stem from overly shallow sleep. Without adequate deep sleep, your muscles fail to recover, your brain doesn't eliminate mental clutter, and your energy levels aren't replenished. I underwent a period where I believed this was simply my new standard. I rationalized, well, this is how getting older feels. But internally, I sensed something was amiss. Thus, I initiated minor adjustments, and gradually they accumulated. I switched off all electronic displays, television, phone, computer, at least an hour before bedtime. I ensured my bedroom was cooler and darker. I commenced taking a small amount of magnesium glycinate prior to sleep, and I established a bedtime ritual that signaled to my body it was time to unwind. It wasn't flawless initially, but after several weeks, I began falling asleep more rapidly. I remained asleep for longer durations, and crucially, I started waking up feeling like myself once more. One additional aspect I wish to mention due to its importance. If you snore loudly or awaken gasping for breath, please consult your doctor regarding sleep apnea. It's not exclusively a male condition. In reality, many older women develop sleep apnea unknowingly, particularly after menopause. And untreated sleep apnea can leave you feeling utterly exhausted, irrespective of the hours spent in bed. So bear in mind, sleep isn't merely a numerical value. It's not just 8 hours displayed on the clock. It concerns the depth and tranquility with which your body can rest. You are entitled to sleep that genuinely revitalizes you, and with a few modifications, it is entirely achievable. Persistent stress and emotional depletion. Let's take a collective deep breath, because this subsequent section addresses something most of us bear but seldom articulate openly. I'm referring to stress, the type that accumulates over years and never fully dissipates. And I'm not merely discussing hectic schedules or excessive chores. I mean the emotional burden we carry, especially as mature women. You see, during our younger years, we often operated in survival mode, raising children, holding jobs, managing homes, attending to everyone except ourselves. And we assured ourselves, one day, when the children are adults, when I retire, when life decelerates, then I will finally unwind. However, for many of us, the tranquility we anticipated never materialized. Instead, the stress merely transformed. Now, we find ourselves concerned about our own health or our partner's well-being. We fret about our savings, about potentially outliving our financial resources. Some of us are caregiving anew, this time for an elderly spouse or even assisting in raising grandchildren. And let's not overlook the emotional impact of observing our adult children encounter difficulties, particularly when we feel incapable of assisting. That silent sorrow, the kind that mounts over time, is genuine, and it is draining. What many fail to grasp is that the body doesn't differentiate between a tangible danger and a stressful thought. Each instance of worry triggers a bodily response. It secretes cortisol, the stress hormone. And prolonged high cortisol levels wear us down. It exhausts our adrenal system, leaving us tired, anxious, irritable, and emotionally sensitive. That's why even minor incidents like misplacing glasses or forgetting an engagement can feel overwhelming. It isn't because you're aging, it's because your nervous system is already operating on fumes. And then there's sorrow, grief from losing companions, relatives, or even one's sense of purpose. Perhaps retirement created a void previously occupied by meaning. Perhaps the quietude of an unoccupied home feels more oppressive than anticipated. These emotional deprivations can exact as much energy as physical ailments. But here's the message I want you to absorb today. You are not defective. And this isn't something you must endure silently, so what actions can you take? Firstly, grant yourself permission to rest, not merely physically, but emotionally. You've exhibited strength for an extended period. It's permissible to pause, to feel, to breathe. Secondly, safeguard your tranquility. This entails declining requests without guilt. It involves establishing boundaries, even with relatives, when self-care necessitates space. Thirdly, discover avenues that facilitate healthy stress release. Perhaps it's morning journaling, a serene outdoor walk, gardening, or participating in a support group. Even sitting in the sunlight with a cup of tea can prove restorative. And if you feel excessively burdened alone, seek connection. Converse with a therapist, a confidant, a spiritual guide. You merit support just as much as anyone. Because here's the undeniable fact. Emotional exhaustion is as tangible as physical weariness. And as you begin nurturing your internal landscape, your external vitality starts to resurface. You've supported others for so long. It is now time to care for yourself with equivalent affection and attention. 5 blood glucose fluctuations you don't detect until it's late. If you're experiencing constant fatigue, here's an element you might not have contemplated: your blood glucose levels. Now you might think, I don't have diabetes, so this isn't relevant to me. That was precisely my assumption too. But I've discovered that blood sugar imbalances can impact anyone, particularly women post-menopause, even without a prior diagnosis. As we age, our bodies develop increased insulin resistance. This means our cells utilize sugar from consumed food less effectively. Consequently, even standard meals can trigger blood sugar surges and subsequent drops, leaving you feeling drained, mentally foggy, and emotionally volatile without forewarning. And here's the complex aspect. You might not perceive these spikes or crashes as someone with diabetes does. You may not experience shakiness or dizziness. Instead, it could manifest as that profound midday lethargy, sudden mental haze, or that wave of exhaustion compelling you to rest your head on the kitchen table immediately after lunch. Does that sound familiar? Let me illustrate a typical day many women encounter. You awaken, perhaps forgo breakfast, or opt for something quick like toast or cereal. This meal predominantly consists of carbohydrates, causing a rapid blood sugar increase. Your body releases insulin to lower it, and a couple of hours later you experience a crash. Abruptly, you feel tired, irritable, or crave something sweet. So, what's the response? You grab a snack, perhaps crackers, fruit, or another coffee. This restarts the entire sequence. The outcome? You're navigating a silent roller coaster throughout the day. Ascend, descend, ascend, descend. And each decline leaves you more exhausted than previously. For me, the moment of realization occurred when I began monitoring my blood sugar levels post-meals, purely out of curiosity. What I considered a nutritious breakfast caused my readings to soar, and consistently following such instances, I observed a subsequent crash, every single time. So how can we support our blood sugar without complicating life? Begin your day with protein and beneficial fats. Eggs, Greek yogurt, nuts, or even a protein smoothie can provide stable energy lasting for hours. Refrain from starting your day solely with toast, cereal, or sugary coffee beverages. While potentially comforting, they predispose you to an energy crash. Throughout the day, aim for smaller, well-rounded meals. Incorporate protein, fiber, and a modest amount of fat in each. This promotes more stable blood sugar levels and steadier energy. Additionally, if snacking, combine a carbohydrate with protein. Instead of just an apple, include a few almonds. Rather than crackers alone, pair them with cheese or hummus. And I acknowledge the difficulty, but reducing consumption of refined sugars and white bread can yield a significant improvement. Total elimination isn't necessary, but minor adjustments can have substantial effects. Once you learn to stabilize your blood sugar, the improvement in your well-being might surprise you. Enhanced mental clarity, greater steadiness, fewer emotional fluctuations, and most significantly, less of that inexplicable, burdensome fatigue that weighs you down. This isn't about dieting or restriction. It's about nourishing your body in a manner that helps you feel like yourself once more. Let's discuss something most women never consider suspect: the medications we consume daily. By the time we enter our 60s or 70s, many of us rely on at least 2 or 3 prescriptions. Some address blood pressure, others cholesterol, still others target sleep, anxiety, or pain. And while numerous medications are essential and beneficial, some carry an unforeseen side effect: chronic fatigue. The reality is, certain medicines can subtly drain your energy over time, and most physicians don't raise the issue unless prompted. Let's examine a few common examples. Firstly, beta blockers. These are frequently prescribed for hypertension or cardiac conditions. They decelerate your heart rate, which can aid heart protection, but they can also induce sluggishness, slowness, or weakness, particularly if the dosage exceeds your requirements. Next, statins. Employed to lower cholesterol, these, while assisting many, are also recognized for causing muscle aches, joint discomfort, and fatigue in certain individuals. If you've experienced soreness or unusual tiredness while taking a statin, investigating a potential connection is worthwhile. Then there are antidepressants. Some can aid mood regulation but may also diminish emotional energy, leading to reduced motivation or alertness. If your emotions feel dulled or your energy is consistently low, reassessing the dosage or medication type might be warranted. Sleep medications represent another category. Indeed, they can facilitate sleep onset, but many also produce a lingering hangover effect extending into the following day. You might feel foggy, slow, or off balance in the morning, despite technically having slept. And naturally, pain relievers, allergy medications, and even certain non-prescription drugs can contribute to drowsiness or mental fog without realization. Now, clarity is crucial. Never discontinue a medication without consulting your doctor. Some prescriptions are vital, and abrupt cessation could pose risks. However, you can initiate a dialogue. Compile a comprehensive list of your medications, prescription and non-prescription, for your next appointment. Inquire with your doctor or pharmacist. Could any of these be contributing to my tiredness? The response might be unexpected. In certain instances, lower dosages, alternative medications, or even lifestyle modifications might lessen the need for specific drugs entirely. You've diligently worked for your health. You deserve well-being, not navigating each day feeling as though you're dragging a weary body, potentially due to an unquestioned prescription. Sometimes, the solution isn't increased caffeine or more sleep. Sometimes, it's simply understanding the underlying cause and granting yourself permission to explore alternative options. So, if persistent fatigue lacks explanation, scrutinize your medicine cabinet. One of the answers might be concealed within. You deserve to feel like yourself again. My dear companion, if you've found yourself agreeing throughout this discussion, I want you to understand you are not isolated. Experiencing constant fatigue isn't merely an inevitable part of life. It doesn't signify weakness, nor is it solely attributable to aging. It signals that your body, heart, or mind requires something different, something more profound, something more nurturing. Perhaps it's an undisclosed hormonal shift. Maybe your body lacks essential nutrients it once readily absorbed. Perhaps inadequate sleep is quietly pilfering your energy, night after night. Or maybe stress, grief, medications, or even blood sugar fluctuations are causing more detriment than realized. Regardless of the cause, you merit clarification, you merit relief, and most importantly, you merit feeling like yourself once more. You've dedicated decades to caring for others. You've labored, loved, made sacrifices, and remained present day after day, even amidst tiredness, even when unacknowledged. Now it is your turn. Not merely to endure, but to genuinely flourish, to awaken with greater energy, to experience physical peace and mental clarity, to savor the life you've painstakingly constructed, not just endure the day. The initial step isn't attempting everything simultaneously. It involves listening, attuning to your body, heeding that small internal voice whispering, "I miss feeling well." And from that point, proceed one step at a time. Pose questions. Implement minor adjustments. Champion your health, just as you've championed everyone else's. Because irrespective of age, improvement is always possible. And if no one else has conveyed this to you today, allow me to state it unequivocally. You are deserving of care. You are deserving of healing. And you are deserving of the energy that empowers you to live fully, according to your own terms. Until our next conversation, remain resilient, remain inquisitive, and above all, remain kind to yourself. You've earned it.